We're good.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, survived the weekend. Hope you all did too. Hope it was a good one. A little bit of rain in the area. Expected again. We are live from the Answer and Offer studio as we are every single Monday through Friday. Thanks to those on Magic, the Noble Network, Facebook, and YouTube. Glad you're all here, and thanks for joining us and starting your week with us. Wade and Carter weather brought to you the great folks at AT Deerlam Hayfeed and Ranch Services.
78 degrees and sun, under mostly cloudy skies in Victoria, Texas. I wanted it to be sunny.
You did.
78 under mostly cloudy skies, 80% chance of rain this afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Yeah. High today of 91.
Mark Kurtz, Ricky King, Scott Snow on the podium this morning. So glad you're all here. Daniel Wade White, Rena Scherer,
Rena.
Garcia, Scott Tomko, Lisa Poole checking in. I wonder if we're big in Florida again.
I bet you Ricky Champagne King is back in the great state of Texas.
Yeah. Tammy Keeling checking in, Andrew Alvarez. So who would have had this on their congressional bingo card?
What, Mitch McConnell passing? Mitch McConnell passing.
Mitch McConnell passing would have gotten you a square, maybe even completed your bingo card.
Instead, he's giving out, condolences to the Lindsey Graham family.
Yeah, like who would have thought that on Friday that of the senators that would pass, Lindsey Graham dies of an aorta rupture, according to the Epic Times this morning, and they called it a cardiac event. Apparently, and Mitch McConnell yesterday issuing statements and speaking to people saying he's alive and well.
Yeah, apparently he had a hardening of the arteries. Graham, 71, not an old man.
No,
he's not the poster child for term limits such as McConnell is.
Oh, well, I don't know. He's been there 30 years.
It's very odd to me that he went to college and he ends up being a lawyer. He's got a 30-year Air Force career and a 30-year Senate or House and Senate career. Yeah. It's amazing.
Makes him only 71, right? I mean,
yeah,
he was 71.
I can't reconcile the numbers. 30 here, 30 there. Plus, he had to go to college. Seems like he should be
high school.
80-something.
Yeah. Well, served in the Air Force, then was in the National Guard, the Air Force Reserves, was a lawyer in the Judge Advocate General Corps, and retired as a colonel in 2015. But the irony, and I'm not taking anything away from it, and I appreciate Lindsey Graham's service to this country militarily.
Hi, David.
I struggle here when they start to blur the lines again. Oh, he was a great public servant. No, he's not. Stop with that. Can we please? He was elected to set the Senate and the House. He went up there and did the job that he was asked to do. But the irony of the media today, and we were flipping around. CBS sits there, no kings, no kings. MSNBC sits there, no kings, no kings.
Right.
And here they are giving reverence to Lindsey Graham like he was a king.
Yeah,
the irony is not lost on me.
I don't know why people seem to have a yearning to be subservient. They subjected to leadership. They seem to want to find somebody they can fall in behind. And like I said, we've been on this show for 10 years. I can't think of any other than a casual reference to, at the time, him being a detractor to first-term Trump. I can't really think of any time we've ever lauded anything that Lindsey Graham did, although he was a fine Republican senator. We're just not hero worshipers.
And from all accounts, a very fine gentleman, and despite having detractors on the other side of the aisle, apparently was good at that. Got along with everybody, and the Senate's different than the House. There's only 100 of them, and they tend to never leave office, it seems.
Yeah.
But I just
look at Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Look at
McConnell.
Guys are around forever.
I mean, he's been there 30 years.
Cornyn.
But it just, I think somebody up here commented that, let's not start the conspiracy theories.
Still big in Florida. Yeah. Well, it is a very timely passing, right? McConnell being incapacitated, Lindsey Graham passing. The SAVE Act is on life support.
Yeah.
Now, I don't understand. I'm going to plead ignorance because I don't get too bogged down in what they're trying to do. I like to review what they've done. Did somebody in the Senate attach a provision to eliminate the filibuster to the SAVE Act? Is that what's going on? I really don't know. I know that people are going past the SAVE Act, even if you have to do away with the filibuster. And it seems like whichever party is in control kind of likes the filibuster.
Yeah, because it means nothing gets done.
Yeah, I
think that's where we are right now. Is they're more worried about rules than rule of law and actually doing something that 84% of the country, regardless of political leanings, agrees the SAVE Act needs to be passed.
A filibuster is a parliamentary procedure used in a legislative body, primarily the United States Senate, to delay or block a vote on a bill. It is commonly referred to as talking a bill to death because it allows a member or group of members to continuously debate an issue, preventing the chamber from moving on to other business. So on its surface, and that's from like Google AI, on its surface, I would be against that, right? Like, let's do something. Let's take a vote. But I mean, it seems like it's a really important part of political process.
I think to not be filibustered, they need a majority of votes, if I'm looking real quick here to try to figure out why. And they tried some reconciliation workaround to just get a simple majority, and that didn't work. So, I don't know. It's just.
Stephanie Conley says, if you're mentioning that vaccines and Lindsey Graham could be part of a conspiracy theory, you need to look into that. That's been proven at this point. It has been proven that you have to follow the science. You have to trust the science. The vaccines were not good for a lot of people.
No, but I'm not gonna point to the vaccine as the cause of Lindsey Graham's death. All you had to do was look at the man, and he seemed to be overweight, and
it's more likely he was assassinated somehow than died of a vaccine.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, you know what? I think it's when you realize how many air miles are flown every year, it's amazing that we don't have more airplane crashes. When you realize how many people die every year, the fact that you have 500 and change in chambers of the House and Senate, and the fact that 1 out of 500 doesn't just kick it every year is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was 71 years old.
It's not that old.
No, it's not that old, but I look at him and I'm like, to me, he didn't look like a pillar of health.
You think he ate a lot of red meat?
I eat a lot of red meat, but I'm sure there was a lot of stuff. I don't know. The diet just didn't. He looked kind of, to me,
yourself as the epitome of health.
Kind of like but he kind of looked puffy to me. But
am I going to make it?
Let's see.
A little cut and tuck.
What do you got? How many years left to 71?
8.
Is that the over under 71?
No, I'm that guy right now that's trying to figure out. Like if I start drawing Social Security at 67, then when I get to 70, I would get an extra $1,000 a month if I waited until 70. But you have to realize that for the first 3 years, I'm getting paid every month. And then to amortize that, I would be in my 81st year before the difference ever started to be in my favor to the tune of $1,000 a month. And I'm not a pessimist, but I think I'm going to take what I can get while this Social Security deal is still rolling. At that point, I'll still be able to work. I can make as much money as I want.
There's a guy that's got your back.
Junior says, I've got one in the grave and one on a banana peel.
Yeah. Good morning, Andrew Alvarez. Ryan Hopping checking in. There's Sheree Brissett. Sherry Jacobs. Good morning, Marina. Brent Anderson. Good morning. Torrin Bales.
See, Sheree Brissett says it's important. The filibuster is important if Democrats are in control.
Yeah.
Don't you think whoever this, okay, like here's the deal. The governor, I assume the governor of South Carolina will appoint someone or have a special election to get a new candidate for the Republican side. They'll do that post haste, like next week.
I believe he can appoint somebody, and I don't believe the general election will. I don't think he was up, so I don't think anybody will be on this ballot.
So don't you think? Yeah, he was up.
Happy belated birthday, Gary.
But he did have a Democrat opponent. So if you're the new guy, if they came and tapped Ash on the shoulder and said, we want you to run for Lindsey Graham's seat, wouldn't you say, hey, I'm here to help support the president and I'm going to carry on the good work of Lindsey Graham? That's what I would do. And then I would just sit back and collect the votes. Peter McNally says, take it and keep working. I guess he's talking about take the vaccine.
No, take your Social Security.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pete. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I can make as much money as I want at 67, so I will take it and keep working.
Yeah, he got 57% of the vote in the Republican primaries in June and was up against Democrat nominee Annie Andrews.
And while that's a huge win, 57% is a clown stomping. 43% of the people in his state voted for someone else.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Here we go. The governor will appoint someone to fill his seat through January, but they now have a special primary for the Republican ballot August 11th. So Nancy Mace considering a run. Wasn't she in the primary? Wasn't she in the Senate primary originally?
But here's the deal. The governor could appoint Nancy Mace to take over the seat, and she may not be the person. She may say, I will do that, but I'm not running.
Yeah.
So the person that he puts in there isn't necessarily the person.
No,
that will.
I don't think it would be.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you put Nancy Mace in there, she's certainly going to want to run as an incumbent in November.
Or what did she run for? Was she running for that or governor?
She was running for governor and got trounced.
Yeah. So,
but she might be a good senator.
Yeah, she ran for senator in 2014 and lost to Lindsey Graham in the primary. Interwebs is a wonderful thing. But
Nancy Mace, the first female,
but
I think first female graduate of the Citadel.
Well, I don't think she would run for senator simply because she's proven that she can't even win. She finished 5th for governor. I don't think Republicans will embrace her. I think what's most amazing about Lindsey Graham to me is the turnaround and the fact that, he wasn't a Trump guy. And I think he was concerned. I think when Trump came in and said he was going to drain the swamp, I think Lindsey Graham thought he might be the swamp.
And he may have been mentioned at some point by Trump.
That Donald Trump was talking about. I think that's why he was an opponent of Trump's.
How much of that is Lindsey Graham was so demonstrably so outspoken about being pro-military, and Trump was so anti-war in his first term?
Part of it.
Is there a chance they were at odds?
Part of it, and I think I think Lindsey Graham probably was part of the military-industrial complex for the last 28 of 33 years that he was there.
Solid question. Laura Trump for Senate. Is there even a chance that Republicans would embrace Laura Trump? Or is that going to be kind of passe? Like, well, of course, you're running because you're your dad's daughter.
Yeah. Is it like the Bush
daughter-in-law?
Effect?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you go. Sheriff Louderback checking in. House District 30 State Rep.
So
take care of yourself.
I just
know we're near 71. But I tell you what, very sad day for the country that a sitting United States senator passes away. One of 100. I thought it was funny. I mean, to me, it was funny that Mitch McConnell chimed in with condolences. I mean, he who I had on that thing, there's like a clear blast tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had him on life support. Oh, he looks great.
Yeah. Apparently he had a fall and had a serious head injury. And that's what caused him to have the problems that he had.
The difference between him and Swalwell, he married his Asian spy. Yeah. Isn't she like tied to the?
Oh yeah,
She's like
yeah.
wealthy
Yeah.
foreign money.
yeah,
Elaine Chao.
yeah. Red-Handed was the book that ties a lot of Mitch McConnell into the Chinese Communist Party through his wife.
And what better place to do that, honestly, than
Peter
being
Schweitzer
a
book.
senator from Kentucky? Nobody cares about Kentucky.
Yeah.
Not even basketball recruits anymore.
Although Lexington's a nice city from what I hear.
Junior says he watched Lindsey Graham change after John McCain died. It was like he was being held back, and then he found his voice.
No, I don't think so. I think he got personally. I think he got scared that he was the swamp that Trump was talking about, and when he found out that he wasn't, he realized he could be an ally as opposed to an in-party adversary, because Trump has enough of those.
Interesting deal, though.
And Trump needed Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and they were very close. I mean, Trump saying this morning, Lindsey was like a part of our family. You find Graham was raised, this is the bio type story, in the back of a bar. And while he was in college, his mother passed, and very shortly thereafter, his father passed. And he ended up adopting his 13-year-old sister and raising her. And then, I mean, you got to have some respect for these people that go on. They end up going through law school. He ends up in the Air Force and is a judge advocate general officer in the Air Force and the reserves for 33 years. Says that losing his parents and having to be responsible for his younger sibling at such a young age led him to the importance of public service. And he, that's the party line on why I figured it was the $200,000 a year for life and the perks of the office. He's a smart guy.
He's been pulling that military pension for the last 10 too.
Retired in 2015 as a colonel. So, but that being said, sad day for South Carolinians.
Yep.
Carolinians, those folks that live in South Carolina.
But I just, it's I don't know. The hypocrisy of the media isn't lost on me when they sit there and say, we don't want kings. But here they are. The media that hated Lindsey Graham is now fawning over him like a king has passed.
Yeah, that always kind of seems. So is it truly
which is disingenuous? Yeah,
yes,
which is it this or is it the other? Or are they simply doing what they have to do to fill time and advertisers and make money to keep their news channels on the air?
Ash and I trip over the same adjective. You should pay attention. USA Foundation Repair, 578 Home. Charlie Garcia will come out and level your house. The doors will close. Things will be better. You need quality select fill or topsoil? White Wing Materials has you covered.
Yep.
Fast, dependable service. Dial 361-920-SAND today. Get your project started with White Wing Materials. Clayton Helt and his team doing a great job. They saw a niche. They saw a need.
Well, and Brian Rokita is a builder, and he knows what quality fill can do for your yard when you build a house, right? So many of them skimp on that and just use the crappy backfill that they've pulled out from the foundation.
Yep. All that clay and gumbo.
And you're saying Augustine will grow on it, but it takes forever for the heaving and the unevenness. But they'll come in and put down quality topsoil, and you'll have a better yard faster.
South Carolinian. There you go.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Veracruz Restaurant back open today.
Yeah, get in today. I had the opportunity. This is the unsolicited Wade and Carter restaurant review. Two places. We went up to Colleen this weekend to see Katie and Stephen, her husband, and then Kennedy, the 19-month-old, and Caroline Grace, who was born on Father's Day. And on the way up, Dawn and I kind of veered off of that Highway 130. You could take Highway 130 up around Austin and up through Georgetown. And we got off in Manor.
Okay.
And went to a place called Cafe 290. Highly recommend it. They had a special. There were people. I like to watch people. We go to Veracruz so much. You watch the same people come in. A gentleman came in and he goes, "You got that turkey and dressing today?" And she said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Okay, which sides do you want? If you ordered the special, you could have unlimited sides." Place has been there. Dwight Eisenhower moved this barracks building to this location in like 1949 or something. And it's been a restaurant there for all this time. Highly recommend it. Dawn and I had a Cobb salad with chicken on it. And I'm going somewhere with this. I am going somewhere with this. On the way home yesterday, we got hungry about Lockhart. Now, so you've got, what do you got? Cruise or Kreitz's. You got Cruise Market.
Blacks.
You got the original Black, the new Black, Terry Black, Kent Black. Yeah. You got the Chisholm restaurant. And I said, no. I said, I wonder where the locals in this town eat Mexican food. It's got to be good, right? Because everybody's eating barbecue every day. So believe it or not, we stopped at a place called Mr. Taco. That sounds terrible. Sounds like.
Doesn't at all.
And went in.
There's one in Gonzales that's pretty darn good.
It was clean. The restrooms were spotless. You know what I'm talking about. You've been in these restaurants. And we had two fantastic little compuestas that I learned how to make at Veracruz. And it was wonderful. So if you're ever in Lockhart and you don't want to eat barbecue, Mr. Taco is just on this side of the HEB on the left. And if you're ever over off Highway 290 Business in Manor, Cafe 290, but in Victoria, Texas, the only place to go eat great, creamy guacamole, fantastic queso, fresh salsa, wonderful chips, and a great menu is Veracruz. Allen's Wrecker Service.
578-6300.
Amen. 578-6300. That's your go-to TOTO. If you need help, they can help. And then Went Services, authorized preferred Generac generator dealer. They can give you turnkey generator service. Good morning, Cody Help. So there you go. We're back. We live from the Atzenhofer studio where we broadcast every day. Greg Garcia says Matamoros is the best Mexican food restaurant in Gonzales.
I'm just saying, I've
been to
the Mr. Taco. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I think they had a fire a few years back too. There's Jordan Glass checking in. Michael Guajardo, good morning.
Michael wanting you to remember that this coming Saturday, the 18th, is the card show. Sports memorabilia, sports cards, trading cards, Pokemon cards. It's in that contiguous space that's an entertainment venue right next to the, I still think, new Mr. Gaddy's Airline in Laurent, named after the great designer Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent.
Yeah.
Of course.
Hello, Norm Burgess. Says it's
Norm.
raining.
So a couple of things that kind of tie together and stories that we were made aware of over the weekend. Apparently teachers in Maryland now are being charged with potty training kids in school.
Ridiculous. You as a parent, it should be your requirement to deliver your children to public school potty trained.
And of course, this will come at a cost because if the teacher's out with the kid in the classroom, who's going to be watching the classroom?
Well, we have to have a highly paid assistant to do that.
But the fact that teachers are now, and it's just a long list of parenting that we have subbed out to teachers, and no knock on teachers, but the 23-year-old fresh graduate has so much on their plate as a new teacher. Now they have, they're not even parents. They don't even have their own kids.
No, why should they? You should not have to change a kid's diaper.
Nope.
In school.
But apparently this is what's happening in Maryland.
What's next? I hope your milk comes in. You've got to nurse somebody at 8:30.
Yeah, no kidding. And now there's an interesting article in the Atlantic, and some will say the Epoch Times calls it a terrifying article. Apparently, according to the National Endowment for the Arts, which tracks these things and has been for a while, the last time the data was available, only 38% of adults in this country in 2022 read any fiction books.
read any book.
Any books. Pleasure reading fell to 16% in 2023, down from 28% in 2004. And people Gen Z doesn't read at all.
I was listening to Breitbart on the way in this morning, and there was a gentleman that was asking people on the street to read, and several people could not read the word architectural.
No, and here's the crazy thing. Because we don't read anymore, in order to apparently meet the definition of read under the National Endowment for the Arts, they included listening to audiobooks in that.
And People magazine, things like that.
Yeah, which is your daily pleasure reading, which is okay. But how is listening, if I'm reading a magazine, that's still reading, right? This isn't browsing, but how is listening to an audiobook reading? It's not.
Now, I mean, if that's the case, listening to us could be reading, because we could create a transcript.
Yeah, we could.
That makes no sense.
Our teachers aren't teaching to read. We're not reading, but our teachers are now expected to potty train our kids. This is how stupid public education has gotten in this country, and how lack of involvement and responsibility either we've absolved parents of having, or parents themselves have just said, you know what, this ain't my responsibility anymore. Let's give it to the teachers. Or society has done that, but where is it? Our teachers no longer teach reading. We don't read as this article points out, but our teachers have to potty train.
That's ridiculous.
They have to discipline. They have to feed our kids. We've given up as parents the role of being a parent.
Yeah, and Ryan, we let the government tell us what our kids should look at on their phones.
Yep.
Linda Chris says, as soon as a child starts waking up with a dry diaper, it's time to start potty training, which makes sense, because you can take that child immediately to a toilet, and then when the child goes to the restroom, you can say, yay, good job, now I'll feed you. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll feed you on the toilet if I have to.
Sure. It's very efficient.
Scott Tomka with a very interesting point. So few people are actually reading, yet some folks are getting paid millions to write a book. Well, it's just the
kickbacks.
Yeah, the kickbacks.
The government guy. Do you really want to read Kamala Harris's book? I mean, really?
No.
How much of that book do you really think Kamala Harris sat down and poured her heart and soul into over a couple of bottles of Chardonnay? I just don't believe it. I think that somebody wrote it to a staffer and a Politico consultant, sat down and wrote that book for her to lay out her platform and agenda for the next election.
Now, I can't wait to till the audio files of those interviews with Kamala Harris get released.
Yesterday is tomorrow, but the day before, and today is tomorrow from yesterday. So let's look forward to tomorrow, which will be today when we get there. She's such a complete idiot. The idea that this person graduated from a law school and functioned in a prosecutor's office blows my mind. Now, blow comes into it because it explains a lot of how Cam got to where she is. But that is the most ridiculous thing ever, because she is a special kind of dumb. Well, Franklin, good morning, buddy.
Yeah, the fact that these people I don't get it, but I don't know. They also found that the average sentence is about 1/3 shorter than it was a century ago.
They had an excerpt this morning that and I can remember it when it was a big deal. I remember my parents telling me it's an adult movie. We're going to go watch it together. Dr. Zhivago came out, which apparently is one of the cases where you go, oh, the book was better than the movie. And
every case.
Right. And the commentator, Mike Slater, read a couple of sentences, and some of the words were a bit of a challenge to me. I had to read it in context to know, oh, that's what that word means. And they said, there's no chance. There's very, very few high school graduates could read this book and understand the book. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? I mean, I do look at audiobooks as a bonus because, for example, I can multitask. I can drive and listen to something mindless like a Grisham novel. I can drive and listen to The Firm and not have to flip pages while I'm driving.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
People used to do that.
No, I've been very blessed because I've realized my limitations. I no longer drive with my left knee while eating and talking to someone on the phone. I'm not a Tesla anymore.
Cup holders.
Yeah.
Great invention.
Yeah. No, I absolutely try not to text and drive or any of that.
I mean, I remember driving a 5-speed back before cup holders were a thing, and that was an art in itself.
Right?
Managing to shift, hold a Coke, and eat a burger all at the same time while keeping it on the road. Yeah, so there's that. What else is happening?
Yeah, you know what? The person in me that 100% supports the work of ICE, 100% believes that our illegal immigrant population needs to go. This is one of those deals where if you say to me, are you 100% for that? Yes. Well, what if? So example would be, I'm a pro-life guy. I don't believe that abortion should be an option. But what if your 12-year-old daughter is gang assaulted by MS-13 and held for months, and when you get her back, she's 2 months pregnant? What if? Then you start having these battles of conscience, and on one hand you say God doesn't make a mistake, and then you say, yeah, but that's easy for you to say, but what about her? Should her body go through that? Well, but this deal with ICE,
they pulled the statistical anomalies out. Like it's an everyday occurrence just to drive your emotion.
Is that what they're doing here?
Somewhat, yes.
This guy's 52 years old. He's been in the country since he was 17. Because of our stupid amendments, he is raising American children who are American, born and raised citizens, and somehow ran afoul of ICE. The stories vary. He was not aiming his van at somebody. He was not like that lady that was begging to be shot.
But DHS says he was. He was trying to run over an agent while evading arrest.
The agents wore no body cameras. How can that be? And the agents say that Mr. Araujo was not the target of the operation.
I think that's his family's account of it. I don't know. That's the thing. There's so many questions around this. But here's the thing. Do you really know the guy?
Right. He's
outside of his family. He's lived a lie here for 30 some odd plus years, right? And think of all the money right now. HPD's pursuing this. The FBI's investigating it. DHS apparently also running an investigation. The Harris County DA running an investigation now.
That's for popularity, right? So the Harris County DA can say, well, Sean Tier can say, we got in the middle of that fight. Viva Araujo. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
And I agree, Linda, 100%. We are on the same page on this. She says the what ifs should not rule the decision. Yeah.
But a lot of the what ifs should have some exemptions in a lot of cases pulled out for him as well.
Yeah.
Scott Tumko says, remember the cheap plastic cup holders you hang on your doors?
You remember those folks that kind of had a little thing and then it went out and it came down and had a cup holder? It was brilliant. It was so brilliant that the auto manufacturers incorporated it into their cars.
Yeah. And then at first they popped out of your dash because they said, oh, nobody wants to see an ugly cup holder.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting is like the Europeans clearly are not into a big gulp. Dawn drives a little Audi. And where the cup holder is, if you have anything bigger than the little bitty coffee cup, you can't touch any of the controls on the dash. It's just there's a
suggestion.
Yeah, it's an inconvenience creator more than a convenience cup holder.
Yeah. No, it really is. Yeah. Let's see what else is happening in the world today.
Well, Sam Neill died.
Sam Neill died,
from
yeah.
Jurassic Park. He
Great
was in
actor,
some other
78.
things too. What else was he in? I mean, a lot of things.
yeah.
But
Mostly, I remember him.
was
mostly
he
for
in The
Jurassic
Exorcist?
Park.
Was he the guy that played one of the guys in The Exorcist?
Maybe.
Let's just see.
Peaky Blinders. He was in that series.
There you go. Untamed, Jurassic Park.
The Piano. Hunt for Red October.
Oh, Dead Calm.
The Horse Whisperer.
The Vow. Peter Rabbit. Rams. Riley, King of Spies.
Not seeing The Exorcist anywhere.
Type in.
Doesn't mean he wasn't.
The Exorcist cast. Wasn't he? No, the Omen. He was in The Omen. That's what it was. 1976. I think he was in that. Maybe I am. I could be incorrect. It appears I am.
Yep, doesn't look like it.
A lot of black and white.
Gregory Peck in there.
Yep.
So
there you go. I'm wrong.
Yep. David Glass, we're huge in New Mexico today.
David, beautiful. 55 degrees. It'll get up to 90 out there today, but it'll be nice.
So. Yep. A lot of thunderstorms and showers in the area, but still no Atlantic hurricane activity expected in the next week. So things are still pretty calm on that front. Trying to see what else is happening in the world today. It is kind of a new Barbie Forever stamp. Did the USPS kind of miss its mark? Shouldn't this come out when the Barbie movie was out?
Exactly. Who was the lady? There was a lady that, like, Ben Franklin appointed the first United States postmaster, or the first female postmaster. And at any rate, she's never had a stamp with her. I mean, it's like an amazing story.
Really?
And
how do you not?
Yeah.
By the way, Postal Service just raised the cost of the Forever stamp. It went up 4 cents yesterday, so now 82 cents a piece. They also increased some other prices.
That is how they found a way to put it to you. So you can buy all the stamps you want.
Yeah.
And you can use them forever. I remember when it went from like 45 to 49 cents. Now, very quietly, it's gone up about 80%.
And you know what? 82 cents, still a pretty good deal to get a letter from one side of the country to the other.
Well, now you got the other side of it, right? If you need to mail something hard copy and it's not worth $1 to you, then email somebody.
Yeah.
Scan it and send it.
And with DocuSign and other such things, you don't even have to get physical signatures anymore.
Yeah.
Anything up to an ounce is 82 cents. Domestic postcards go up to 65 cents. Does anybody, I mean, I know they're there. I mean, I know people buy them, but I think they buy them more for memories than sending them. International letters,
right? Everything you write is.
Yeah. International letters went up to $1.75. But I think everything and this is where they make their bread and butter, all these mass mailings, 29 cents. That's where they need to raise the money.
Yeah. That's what covers the fuel.
$9 billion in losses in FY25. I don't know. You tell me, I'm going to pose you the question. Is it time we just get rid of the Postal Service?
Maybe. I mean, here's the deal, though. There's a gap. Like I would say, yes, if you need something, you could send UPS, you could send it FedEx, but then you're like, wow, wouldn't that open the opportunity? Now, this is the great question. Wouldn't that open the opportunity for a private business to come in and go, hey, if you just want to send a letter home, we can do that for you? Could anybody scale that up privately where it could work and do it for less than $1 a letter?
I don't know.
See how, but they lose $5 billion a year, so they're not doing it for less than $1 a letter either.
Well, and the thing is, and would anybody complain if it was just $1, no tax? Here, it's just $1. let's not raise the price for 10 years. See what happens. I don't know that anybody would.
I wouldn't complain. I don't remember the last time I mailed something. I pay my bills online.
Birthday cards.
You know what? I had a letter. They needed a signature. It didn't have to be notarized. Otherwise, you'd almost have to do it in person. But they needed my signature to change an insurance policy, and I mailed that.
And that might be part of the reason why, because people don't mail anymore. Remember all those fear tactics? Oh, the USPS government's going to start charging you for every email you send to make up for the losses of the
That's not
service.
right. They should not. There would be a rebellion.
They won't. But
Junior Sample says just give the mail to a Jehovah Witness and they can drop it off while they're making their rounds.
I mean, we don't send mail because we don't read anymore. So we can't, if we don't read books, we probably can't read the mail.
Right.
Politicians alone are keeping the Postal Service alive.
Yeah.
That's why they keep funding it, because otherwise they have nowhere to spend all their money on the stupid postcards that go out every election season.
Yeah.
Amazon's probably keeping the Postal Service alive as well with what they're doing, but they're expanding more into their own folks. But does Lone Star Overnight still exist? Remember those guys?
I think so. And that was just a Texas-based, a more regional FedEx that in theory operated cheaper because they didn't fly so much.
No, and
stuff.
DHL, I think, is still around worldwide, but I don't know if they're in the U.S. anymore. But mailed something the other day in a box, and it was cheaper to send it via USPS than either UPS or FedEx. So
yeah, I think FedEx is probably still the gold standard. I feel fairly comfortable when I use UPS. It's a toss-up when you use the Postal Service. Folks, something that's not a toss-up, Chestnut Furniture. Chestnut and Love make your house a home. Get in and see what Bobby Leon and his family can provide for you and yours, whether it's quality, American best-made furniture, leather, all different fabric types. You can pick what you want, different styles, different legs, different proximities to the floor. I've always told Dawn my next sofa is going to be up off the ground to where my Roomba can just run seamlessly underneath it.
Yep.
Get by Chestnut and see why you just always do better at Chestnut. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Are we trying to play bingo this week?
I don't know if we can.
I don't know. I just don't know if we can. I don't know, but you can.
Yeah,
you can go out and for $15, you can go in. The computer will play like 19 cards for you. And
where else can you go for $15 and spend a couple of hours and have a good time with friends and a chance to win money?
Right.
Nowhere.
Maybe at
I'll answer the question for
Lucy's Quadriplegic Massage Parlor, but that would be the only other place I can think of. Get in today. The First State Bank of Louise Astros update.
Josh Hader.
Hader came in and blew his first. It wasn't even a save. I guess it wasn't.
Would have been, wouldn't it?
4-1.
Yep.
I don't know.
Took the loss anyway.
Hader takes the loss. There was an error by DeCenzo in left. A ball was hit. Had it been caught, had it been one hopped like it should have been, DeCenzo could have thrown to second and held the runner at first. But instead, on the E7, the batter advanced to second. Then Hader walked a guy, I think. Anyway, they ended up in a spot where they had the bases loaded and nobody out.
Walk-off single.
Yeah. Josh Hader, I really can't complain about Josh Hader. He looked somewhat human yesterday. I don't remember who pitched yesterday for us, Donnie. Who was it? Gave up. Oh, it was Christian Javier. Gave up three runs, I think, early.
Yeah, only went 3 innings.
Yeah, he needed to go. Astros are in the market for some pitchers. They traded Braden Shoemake to the Milwaukee Brewers. They got a couple of picks. They picked a guy in the draft yesterday that she said we had a ton of pitchers yesterday. Abreu pitch.
Brian King has struggled against the Rangers this weekend. He gave up 4 runs, I think, the other night in a close ball game in the opener of that series. And then yesterday, 3 hits and a run that proved costly. And the Astros had a chance to win the series. Instead, they lose it.
Yeah, hats off to the Rangers, by the way. They were overly excited about winning that series. I thought they really over-danced out I don't know. It's just kind of
Yeah,
silly.
walk-ups are exciting, but still.
If it's,
Astros 3 games back of the Rangers, who have a 1.5 game lead over Seattle as well.
even with the Rangers having the more recent World Series championship, is there any real comparison between the two franchises in terms of
Success?
no?
No.
Which is amazing that we say that about the Houston Astros.
And the fact that the A's are 41-55 and still only 8 games out of first place just tell you how bad.
If you can just get to 500, you can win this
You might
division.
win that division, and that's not happening in any other division in baseball because the
But
AL
if you
West
can
is
do
terrible.
that, it's no different than watching the Oklahoma Sooners win the men's college baseball championship after finishing, I don't know, 4th or 5th in the SEC. I mean, if you can get to the playoffs, then I think the Astros have a decided advantage.
No, absolutely, and that's all it takes, right? Get
One
there and see what
highlight
happens.
yesterday, Altuve hit a solo shot for the Astros. He's been productive. I think that was his 11th homer of the year. And anyway, that's the first state bank of Louise. Astros.
Yannick Sinner won Wimbledon in the men's finalists. He defended his title, so back-to-back Wimbledons for him.
And I've never heard his name. Shame on me.
Italian beat Alexander Zverev. And then Linda Noskova won her first women's Grand Slam.
And that's how you know
on
you're getting old.
Saturday.
I've never heard of any of those people. And Yannick Sinner is obviously a very wealthy young man. He's won back-to-back.
Knocked off Novak
Wimbledon.
Djokovic in the
I do know
semifinals.
Djokovic.
Yep. Speaking of semifinals, World Cup semifinals set. France and Spain tomorrow, England and Argentina on Wednesday.
I think the winner of France and Spain is your World Cup champion. I think Argentina will beat England.
Yeah, Spain has kind of been lucky. I think France can win that one, and I think Argentina beats England. And I think you're going to see France and Argentina in the finals. And I'm not a huge soccer fan. That's just what I think.
No, but I think I completely agree, and I think I would have to go with France.
I've tried. I tried to get into this World Cup. I think it was unique that it was in all over the continent, Canada, Mexico, USA. I think that's the only way countries can do it unless you're Qatar 4 years ago and you have all sorts of oil money from sultans that can pay for these things. But I think the days of small countries being the only host.
Right. How would you play all the games?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I guess places like England and Germany have soccer stadiums and the infrastructure. But if you look at what they had to do here just to kind of get it done, they had to play in Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, New Jersey, LA, Seattle, Vancouver, Toronto, 3 cities in Mexico just to kind of get it done.
I
with
just
stadiums
can't
that size.
get into a sport that is so dominated by like fake outrage. I mean, it's like if I come up and touch you, you've got to flop on the ground and grab your hamstring.
Yeah.
It's all just so fake. And it's a combination of like football and wrestling. I mean, it's like you can't, and they don't deny it. They're like, no, that's the way you've got to play the game. You have to
Because
draw
you got to
a
draw the
penalty.
penalty. Yeah.
That's dumb. Americans don't embrace that.
And the NHL was going that way a few years ago, probably 20 now. And so what did they do? They instigated a penalty for diving. If the ref thinks you're trying to sell it,
Then
and I'll be
take a
honest,
seat.
then you get a 2-minute penalty. And I'll be honest, it was a direct result of the Europeans that were coming into the NHL because the European hockey was very much played that way, similar to soccer. They don't like the physical contact over there. So if I hit you with the stick and you fall down,
You hold your wrist.
The ref over there puts the hand up and you get a penalty. And so the NHL said, you know what? No more diving. And they didn't call it diving. Everybody else did. Embellishment.
Can you
And
imagine
it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
LeBron James went and played soccer? I mean, the games would last forever.
And I think because of all the rolling around, you now have the extra time, the injury time, or the stoppage time that is now, like I said last week, I can remember when 5 minutes was long stoppage time. Now they're playing 10, 11, 12 minutes of stoppage time.
Okay, well, here's my novice how you deter that. You just set a max of 8 minutes extra time. And after that point, when it's already been obtained, there's no reason for you to flop because it's not going to get you any extra time.
Nope.
And play doesn't stop simply because of players on the field.
That would be a bigger one. You know what? If you're going to roll around like you've been shot, unless the play comes back in your area,
just let Billy lay over there.
Yep, so you stay over there. If you're not involved in the play, you want to hurt your team and be down a man, go ahead.
And now soccer coaches being charged with potty training those players. There's no remuneration for that. That's not fair.
But I that's the one part of the World Cup is that these are the best players in the world, and there's soccer can be a physical game, but I can't. When I see them flopping, I literally will watch a game, and when I think it's just too much, I turn it off. I can't do it.
But don't you find yourself going, come on, get up?
Yep.
I mean, maybe that's part of the game. I don't know. But
it is part of the game, but it's sad that it's a part of the game.
Yeah. Jonathan Williams, you're right. The NBA is flop central. But
they don't call fouls anywhere anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They don't call traveling either.
No. What else is happening in the world?
Well, Graham Plattner made it final and formally withdraws from the race. Party will hold a nominating convention Saturday. We've seen this before. No votes will be cast, but they will decide who the Democrats get.
July 25th will be their nominating convention. So the Republicans of South Carolina have a sitting senator die, and they can end up with a primary in August. And Maine can't figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Here's one: less caffeine, better everything.
What?
Not so fun fact: energy drinks are full of isolated caffeine, which causes crashes, jitters, and lack of focus.
Yeah, well, that's no surprise. I mean, I don't like them. I'm not a big fan of them, but
yeah,
interesting. I mean, that's a huge segment of the beverage.
Yeah, so, part of that is an ad.
Yeah,
but it is true.
Yeah.
I've had iced tea where I ended up feeling jittery.
Well, tea actually has more caffeine than coffee in most cases, and dark coffee actually is not stronger than lighter roast.
I had another sugar-free espresso latte this week. And with Katie made it for me. It was actually quite good. She made the espresso. Looks like it's pitch black motor oil looking coffee, about 2 ounces of it. You put a little milk and a little non-dairy sugarless creamer in there and some vanilla flavoring and dump that in there and served it over ice. It was great.
So Graham Plattner had more than 70% of the Democrat primary votes.
He was a manly man. I'm a man. Yes, I am. And I can't help but love you. Anyway, he was the guy and he did manly stuff. He was a lumberjack, oyster farmer. But he was a rapist.
And now they're just going to pick somebody.
Yeah.
They got time to hold a convention to choose the new nominee, but they don't have time to figure out how to.
Convention will be made up of 601 delegates from Maine's 16 counties. Of those, 101 will be members of the Democratic State Committee who are elected by Maine voters. The remaining 500 will be delegates appointed from each county.
There you go. So they're going to tell you who can go there to vote except for the 100. It's just the Democrats just do not believe in democracy at all.
Yeah.
So
P. Strauss says LeBron is the GOAT of flopping.
Absolutely.
He sure is.
Will Vincent checking in.
Hi, Will. Yep.
Heather Stewart says, always thought soccer was like a marriage between American football and basketball. The dramatics remind her of basketball.
I agree.
I'll be curious to see if, and I have to wonder, the 40 million that tuned in for the U.S. round of 16 game, how much of that was because of the theatrics created by President Trump? Right? Are you getting 40 million Americans to tune in, or 40 million people in this country to tune in if Donald Trump doesn't insert himself into that game to get a player back? I don't think 40 million people are tuning into that game as a result, and I'm curious to see how many
tuned into the final.
How many soccer fans are residual in the U.S. because it just seems like we're more enamored with the folks that have come here
Yeah.
and been amazed by parts of our culture like ranch dressing. TSA is they're confiscating
They had to take it
all sorts of ranch dressing.
paper packets.
Yeah.
But American soccer got quite a boost, quite a shot in the arm, if you will, because of the World Cup. Interest was up. I think you'll see some of these players being followed on their national teams, on the teams they play on, their professional teams. I mean, I started watching Ted Lasso again last week, and highly recommend it. Yeah, highly recommend Ted Lasso.
I mean, the other thing is, but the U.S. has never gotten past the round of 16. And what's the reason for that? It's not, it's
we're not good.
Well, it's not coaching. They have probably the best coach they've had in a while. They brought him in from Argentina, I think. But I think it's the development of the players. They've made a lot of strides there. Yeah. But I don't think it's quite where it needs to be.
Former Florida and Ohio State coach Urban Meyer said Texas quarterback Arch Manning should, quote unquote, get used to the scrutiny that comes with being the Longhorn starter.
How's he not used to it? This guy's been under more scrutiny.
And I think he is used to it. Yeah. Interesting. I watched a show called Untold about the Florida football program, and Coach Meyer, who by all accounts was a really good guy, says, we won it 2 years out of 3. Tebow comes back in 2009. No, in 2009, Alabama ended up playing Texas in the championship game, and Alabama, of course, won. But Urban Meyer said, I realized that we had won the championship 2 out of 3 years, gone to the SEC championship undefeated and gotten beat by Alabama, and everybody looked at us as failures. And he said it just became so overwhelming that there was no joy in playing the games because all that mattered was winning. So he says here, I remember talking to Sark about this last year. Everybody's all over Arch Manning. I get it. You're a quarterback, and you had that last night. Get used to it, pal. That's going to be the rest of your life. However, when players aren't open, that's not the quarterback's fault. And the receivers against Ohio State really struggled. Well,
and I think they struggled all year last year, and I think that was the weakest part of Texas's offense.
I think the receivers going to be really, really good this year, and I'm not bragging about it. I think they're going to beat Ohio State and cruise.
So,
yep.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think I like Arch. I think he's a good person.
I do too. It's on one hand, you and I say, well, it's not really fair to the kid that all that pressure is put on him. But then at the same time, if the team wins, Arch Manning rolls over Ohio State. If the team loses, Manning flops in opener. It is what it is. If you want to be the man, some people are built for it, some aren't. I believe that Arch Manning's built for it because of his family lineage. He grew up watching his uncles just get hammered by the media.
Yeah.
He's at a different level. It would be like being Barron Trump. You're used to it. You're used to public scrutiny because, your dad lives with it every day. The Mannings are an interesting football royalty family.
They really are.
Yeah.
Speaking of Trumps, I wonder how many Trumps will want to seek office following Donald's departure.
Yeah,
and I'm not even. I think not even
Jr.
president.
Certainly has aspirations.
Maybe Jared Kushner.
Yeah, who I think would be good.
But I don't know how many of them want to face that scrutiny for the rest of their lives.
John Anderson asks, "Who's the Longhorns' biggest rivalry? Is it still the Aggies?" I don't feel like it is. I think when the Aggies left in 2012 and went to the SEC, the rivalry kind of ebbed. OU is still our most hated and really followed very closely by A&M and, of course, Arkansas, somebody else we've always hated. It is worth noting that Texas holds the all-time advantage in wins over all 3 of those teams. But if you don't go back a whole long way, like since 2000, it's OU over Texas.
And I think Arkansas gets more up for the game against UT now than back
Texas
in the day of
Yeah, but we own them. Arkansas is an embarrassment.
Yeah. So, well, we're at the top of the hour, folks. Thanks for sticking with us,
folks. 100%. I hope you have a great week. I mean that. Nothing but positives here at the Feel Good Hour of Wade and Carter. We love y'all. Hats off to all of our leadership. We're very proud of our relationship with House District 30 Rep AJ Louderback, our own Congressman Michael Cloud. We're just very Lois Colcourse, all that, the whole group.
Crystal Map, you have a great day too.
All right. We love you guys.
Bye, folks.
Bye.